Okay, friends, it looks like we are back live. I don't know what happened. I think I had a power glitch, and I think my modem might have gone off for a second. I think it had to get rebooted. So let me start that again. I have one final thing that I'm trying to say here about what happened. I got banned from this group. It's called Say No to Lithium-Ion Battery Recycling in Endicott. It's a Facebook group. It's got close to 2,000 members to it. Are they all real? I don't know. Maybe Mr. Boop-a-dee-boop, the administrator of the thing, maybe he bought some clicks because, it's a really goofy name. How did it get so big so fast? I don't know. Maybe they're all legitimate. If they are legitimate, it's really nice for me to have access to those people because I work in the public interest and I survive on donations and grants, and I'm about $1,000 in the hole and I'm about ready to lose almost everything that I own. So, which isn't even all that much. So, that's not the graphic that I want. Sorry. I don't know how that got up. All right. What I'm trying to get through is this. The last post. They've moderated me always. No burn broom. The same guy moderates the no burn broom Zoom calls. No burn broom Zoom. The Zoom calls, right? The same guy who says, I represent 2,500 people. It's like back in March, he said, it's like, I'm going to try to keep this family friendly, but can I say fiddle faddle? Who the fiddle faddle do you think you are, mister? I represent 2,500 people. Sit down. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. You need to, pay attention to, respect your elders, respect the people that have done this work. Don't muscle in here and try to take credit for everything. That's what I think he's trying to do. He wants his name attached to this. He's like the plaintiff, so he has exclusive access to the attorney. This is played out so many times. It reminds me of, do I want to say his name? Maybe I don't say his name. That guy back in Binghamton that I worked with, like, quite extensively over a 10-year period or something. Bump. Here's a clue for. There's probably one person in Binghamton that knows this reference, but it's bum 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 ba da 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 bum bo do 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 bum. I wrote a song. It's just a parallel that. Here's the schema, okay? These charismatic people, they glom on to some kind of somebody's activist work, and they hitch a ride, and then they steer the thing, they get control, and they steer the thing, I say, into a ditch, okay? What they're trying to do is they're trying to subvert the original goal of the organization in order to gain some kind of political advantage for that. And if I get too specific, you're going to know exactly who it is. And I don't want to give this guy any energy, but the scheme is the same. These charismatic people, they work their way. And I don't know, are they working for industry? Are they on the take? Are they getting their palm greased? Is that how they work? Are they just two-faced? Or are they just, I don't know what it is. I don't know what motivates such a person, but it seems like it's a killer instinct. The killer instinct is back. The killer instinct that's trying to destroy me and silence me and block my access to my audience. My potential audience. That's the people of Endicott right now, because I'm focused mainly on Endicott stuff right now. And this M or F-er, beep, 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 beep. With a little tiny you-know-what So let's just get into it. So I'm just saying, okay, what I see now I'm doing. Maybe this guy is like an advanced wizard, right? And he's trying to lull me into a trap where I'm like breaking my own rule. Because what was the last thing that I said in that group? The last thing that I posted. I'm disgusted by how you are putting Linda Jackson's image in a toilet bowl. I'm disgusted by that. I'm disgusted by the fact that you're making fun of her for her shoes. What kind of shoes she wore, or how she looks. Because you know what? I've had people making fun of me all my life. How I looked, how the shape of my body, body odor. Who knows what it is? All kinds of, we all have our own unique defects, our own unique, specialnesses, We could even say birth defects. Some of what we have, each of us have very unique bodies. None of our bodies are perfect. So, to make fun of somebody, to ridicule, to insult, it's like, what's the purpose? Are you trying to change their mind, like persuade? You're trying to persuade them by putting their image in the toilet bowl. That's going to persuade them. Is that your goal? You're going to persuade through mockery. I don't think that works. I don't think you can persuade through mockery. I think and if anything, people put up a wall of resistance to that, okay? So, maybe your goal is to hurt. You want to hurt. You want to punish. That's violence. I mean, I can't tell you how to be, but I'm telling you, violence in all forms scares me, and I get a visceral reaction to it, and it frightens me, and it really makes me sick, because I've had violence done to me. Making fun of somebody, how they look, putting them in a toilet bowl, it's not going to persuade the person, the object of your scorn. I understand your anger. I understand your fear. I understand your sadness. I share all of your feelings. Your feelings are real. That's all good stuff. That's fine to have those feelings. The problem is when you take your fist with a weapon and throw it. That's violence. There's never a reason for violence. It's not going to help you reach your goal. It's going to have the opposite effect, if anything. I'm just saying, can we stick to the facts? This is my last post in that group before I got banned by Mr. Bloop, 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 bloop. Whom I'm not going to say his name. He wants to be a big celebrity, I guess. He wants me to do a TV show about him, and he's about ready to get his wish. But maybe I need to take the high road, right? Maybe I need to practice what I preach. Maybe I need to be the Yogi Swami. You are the Yogi Swami you have been waiting for. The Indians always do this. I love this. Man, let me tell you something. You are in big trouble if you are in the front of the room and the whole front row is going like this at you. Holy, you better stop what you're doing, or you better get out of there. You better do something, because when the whole front row is going like this at an Indian event, man, I've had that happen to me before. It's just like it's like holy shit, I'm in trouble. It's kind of cool. I love the Indian people. I love the Indian culture. My life has benefited so much from the study of the ancient Vedic wisdom, yoga, and all of it. There's so much of it. It's a tapestry. It's a multi-dimensional tapestry. It has benefited my life. It has allowed God to come, to allow me to find God again. Christianity, I couldn't see God in Christianity, and it was just confusion to me. And so I thank God that I found Edmund Cotton and I found yoga. I was directed to Edmund and yoga. I have been, given access to that ancient stream of wisdom, and it's pretty amazing if you're ready for it. If you're ready for it, it's pretty amazing stuff. And I just need to practice what I preach. So I need to practice non-attachment, and because the violence comes from the attachment, whether you're talking about somebody's violence towards Linda Jackson or my anger at blah 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 Mr. blah 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 blah, the guy that unplugs me on the Zoom calls and moderates me, unmoderates me, moderates me, and then bans me from the, say no to the one where this group name that's so long you fall asleep before you get to the end of it. Same guy. I need to let go. I need to practice yoga. I want to reconnect with my teacher. Okay, so that whole thing was just wrapping up that thing about me getting banned. I wanted to talk about me getting banned from that Facebook group, and I guess I'm going to try to be over it now. But it hurts, and I think it just hurts. Feelings and needs. The thoughts you don't even need to, opinions, judgments, that's all thoughts. You don't need to go there. Right, Mickey? Right, Vera? Okay. So where this story begins, okay, I want to talk about this guy over here. His name is Paul Yum. Now, I advanced that. I didn't want to do that. Okay. I want to talk about this guy, Paul Yum. And you're going to find out why in a second. But to give you the context, I want to tell you a little bit about the history here, okay? So there was these two big meetings. Basically, Linda Jackson and Cheryl Chapman were both very much expressing that they were against the incinerator. And starting out up until, from the point they got elected until, January or so. January or maybe most of February. Whenever they were on, we're going to show you in a second. Whenever they were talking to the media, mainly the mayor, and expressing lots and lots and lots of concerns about the facility. And then suddenly something happened between the end of February and into March. The next time that they were quoted in the media, they had done a complete 180. Well, what happened between, January, February, when they were talking up that they were against the thing, and then after, mid-March when they became completely against it? What transpired in there? Well, there were two meetings. There was one meeting on February 28th, 2020 at Donna Lupardo's office. And that had the mayor, and it had the village attorney, and it had Fred Akshar and an assistant, a staffer, Donna Lupardo and a staffer, Dan Schofield, I think Dan's Town of Union, and Jason Garner, the county executive, plus Joseph Dlugolinski of the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, and he's the main air permit guy over this facility. He showed up to Donna Lupardo's office. Public wasn't invited. Who's the guy that's been researching this thing since September? Did they invite me? No. Nope, didn't invite me. I asked them to, because Mayor Jackson kept on, we're going to have a meeting. I'm like, hey, when you have the meeting, how about inviting me along? Can I come along? Didn't invite me. There's no public there. In fact, I haven't seen a transcript or I think I foiled the audio, but I've got nothing back yet. I need to review all my FOIL requests, because some are, I think, constructive denials by now. So besides the February 28th meeting, there was one on 3/10, March 10, and this time it was at the Village of Endicott offices. And did I say Joseph Dlugolinski? Look at this other thing. 3 people from Empire State Development. So Mayor Jackson basically was ganged up on by all these big politicians that are all pro-incinerator, plus the DEC, pro-incinerator, they're pushing it, plus the ESD, Empire State Development, pushing the incinerator. Does this look like somebody put some pressure? Somebody wanted to put some pressure on Linda Jackson? There's no other side represented there. It's all pro-incinerator people. And you look in the community, and it's all against the incinerator. It's like 80 to 90% of the people are against. Anybody that knows about it is against it, just about, except for a few people that somehow are going to financially benefit from it, maybe. But the meeting on February 28th, it was stacked with pro-incinerator people. So, and Donna keeps saying, oh, everybody, we didn't know of any problems. Everybody was for it. All these people are for it. How can it be that all the politicians are for some toxic incinerator and the people either don't know about it or are against it? How does that happen? It looks like a web of corruption to me. It looks like organized crime. It looks like a crime syndicate. And I really appreciate Fred Akshar for being one of the people on this list that's actually distancing himself from this thing a bit, and I encourage him to distance himself from it even more. So anyway, there was this other meeting, 3/10/2020, March 10, that had Brenda Grober with ESD, and it had Linda Jackson. Cheryl Chapman this time joined her. Anthony Bates, the village manager. Phil Grayson, the wastewater guy, which doesn't make any sense at all. Does not make any sense at all. It's an anomaly. It has a possible explanation, which is what I've been saying all along, solvent extraction. They're going to do solvent extraction here. That's the big plan that they're not mentioning. You ask them about it, they're like, duh, that'd be another decision. Nathan Van Wing, Coughlin, and Gerhardt, and I guess that is, Nathan Van Wing in this case was representing the village, I believe, because I don't see, I guess Bob McCurdish was previously engaged or something. I think all the attorneys kind of work part-time for the village. And they just basically hire the law firm. They get help. I've seen in some of these FOIL documents, other attorneys from Coughlin and Gerhardt that were getting involved in discussions on this, various things on this, about the incinerator. So Rick Matarese was there, County Union. He's the supervisor. And people kind of read Rick as kind of pro it. And Dan Schofield, I don't know about Dan. Don't know where he stands on it. But I didn't hear Dan raising the alarm back in March. The incinerator is coming. The incinerator is coming. I didn't hear him getting on a horse and riding through town and announcing to people. None of these people did. I was the only one saying, hey, you know this thing they're calling green manufacturing? It's really an incinerator. That was me. I was doing it since September to November of 2019. That's when I started. So let's wrap it up and look at who else was at this March meeting. Chris Pelto here on campus. He's the president of the real estate company here on campus. He's basically a landlord. And Danish Mir showed up. He's the presidio of SMCC Americas. Sungeel MCC Americas. Paul Yum. The whole point of this is to talk about Paul Yum. And this guy, Searing Wong of Sungeel. Paul is also with Sungeel. And David Kim is with Sungeel. Okay? Finally got off this slide. Alrighty. Moving on to the next slide. Oh, I hate that. But I'm trying to... I always do that when I'm trying to do something silly. Like... Add-on manager, that's not... Okay, I'm just checking the chat. Looks like we had a few people on. Renee went. What lovely things does solvent extraction do? Well... Oh, and I apologize for the fact that the last stream got messed up, too. I'm sorry about that. I had to... Oh, I think I already explained it, that I think I had a power outage. Just real briefly, Renee, solvent extraction is... So I assume that you live in Endicott. I think I've seen your name in the group. So solvent extraction is the part of the process that Sungeel presently wants to do in Korea. So what they do is they take the black powder, and the black powder is purified metal. The plastic has been burned off in the incinerator. So it's basically just the metals they want that are left in this, but they're mixed together. So what solvent extraction does, solvent extraction is chemistry. It's... You mix it with solvents. You mix this combination powder, or you might use a gravity separation. You put it in like a centrifuge, and things can separate out. You use various different processes, but the solvents involve, you dissolve the metals in a solution, and then you precipitate them out as like I think he says. I'm trying to remember. Glendon Archer. He calls it a cathode. He says cathode. So they're basically growing metal crystals in the solvent solution. But the thing that concerns me, Renee, about the solvent extraction is the fact that it does generate large amounts of liquid wastes. And that's why I think I've always thought, because here on campus, if you're familiar with it, across the street from where Building 259 is, there's this big wastewater treatment facility that's presently idle, and that's where they were doing the stink trucks. That's what my friend Mark Bacon calls it. The leachate. They were bringing dumping operations here, all kinds of different things. My favorite was Dr. Reddy's horse pee. They were bringing like 14,000 gallons every month of horse urine to Endicott. Like, what? What kind of a waste stream is horse urine? And by the way, it's contaminated with a banned gasoline additive called MBTE. And we were trying to figure out, can this plant over there filter? Can that capture that? Get that to precipitate out? The point is that the solvent extraction process creates vast amounts of liquid wastes, which they can just conveniently handle in the facility across the street. So it's kind of a win-win. That's why I thought this was one of the reasons why they wanted to locate here, is because they eventually want to do the solvent extraction here. The incinerator is the foot in the door. That's the foot in the door. Would they be flushing the waste into our crippled sewers? They say no. They say, well, and you got to be careful about what kind of. There's two kinds of sewers too. There's the stormwater sewers, the storm sewers, and they are a mess. And there were badly leaking pipes in the storm sewers under Kmart. So, you know what, Renee? You do have a point. You do have a point. The answer to your question is yes. That if they use that plant, the way they get their effluent out there is by using the storm sewers. That's how they get their effluent into the river, is via the storm sewers. So, and there used to be, I heard they were doing some work in the Kmart Plaza. Did they dig that up? Does anybody that live near the Kmart, can you comment if you've ever seen them digging up the Kmart Plaza and putting new pipes in there? It kind of looks like they have been doing some excavation work. I don't know if they fixed it or not, but yes, that's a good point. If they did the solvent extraction, they would be dumping into, unless they buried new pipes, they would be dumping into the crippled sewers. And that's a good way to put it, Renee. That's a great question. And I wasn't even thinking right because you are right. I wasn't thinking clearly. Okay. So I just got to take a step out. I got to take a 2-minute break, and I'm going to come right back, and we're going to complete this story. Stand by for a quick break, and I'm coming right back. Okay, check. All right, I'm back. So there was these two big meetings. Mayor Jackson and Cheryl Chapman reversed themselves. After these two meetings happened. So it was kind of weird. So people suspect that something happened during these meetings that caused them to change their vote. This is where the story begins. So this is Paul Yum. I guess the Korean people, a very common thing, because Americans have trouble pronouncing Korean names and we don't read the script. Our Our English is written with a completely different script. This is the Korean script here. And even the pronunciation, this is the transliterated Korean here. Kwang Hyun. This is, not so easy for English people to speak. So I think very commonly Koreans that do business in America, they'll take an American name just because it's familiar and easier for American people to pronounce. So he uses Paul Yum. His real name is Kwang Hyun Yum. So Sungeel High Tech, SMCC, Sungeel MCC Americas. So what's interesting about this? Endicott, New York. It's a joint venture between Metallica Commodities Corporation, Sungeel High Tech, Sungeel. We leverage MCC extensive commodity. What's interesting about this? Anybody see it? Well, the answer is the date. October? This guy's been working in Endicott since October? Really? October of 2018. Almost 2 years. He's been working in Endicott. A Korean guy from Sungeel High Tech has been working in Endicott. Okay. Let's just take note of that. Let's just kind of put it on a little mental, one of those 3M notes, one of those the yellow notes, the sticky notes, a mental one of those, and just put it in the back of your brain. Okay, just hang on to that for a second. And we're going to look at some other details. So one is, if you do a Google for Sungeel or SMCC Endicott hiring manager, or Endicott, yeah. And what do you see? You see sometimes Google will give you the date of publication. So between, what's the first one? April 4th, between April 4th and May 8th, they posted a job for a plant and facilities manager. Between April and May, they're hiring a plant manager. So I guess that makes sense, because what happened on March 30th? On March 30th, DEC issued the permit, the Air State Facility Permit. It was all kinds of unkosher. The PFAS thing is just the most mundane of them. So they got this permit under some questionable conditions, and April 4th, or that was March 30th, sorry. April 4th, they post that they're hiring a facilities manager. So I guess that does make sense. Only they don't have a building permit yet. There's quite a few permits that they don't have, and we have a slide on that coming up. There's quite a few things they don't have. But the point is, just keep in mind, April 4th, they're hiring somebody, okay? April 4th. So, what's this? You type into Google SMCC Endicott, and what do you see? You see the same thing. Look at this. Well, it says that there's no date of when this card was created, but it says that they're located in Endicott. They're in Endicott. That's what this says. That's what Google says. And look, out of 11 Google reviews, they got 1 star. That's kind of funny. I think the mamas have been leaving them 1-star reviews. I think I did. So what's this one? This is the official LinkedIn page of the company. So well, if you look at this, let's zoom in on the top of it here. So first of all, look, it says the industry is mining and metals. Oh, really? Mining and metals? I thought it was recycling. Is it urban mining, or is it recycling, or is that the same thing? because it's like they're using all kinds of different names, which makes me suspicious. When they start using 20 different names for the same thing, it makes me suspicious. So it says Sungeel MCC Americas is the first and only chemical-based recycler. What? Chemical-based? Who was that in the chat? Was that Renee in the chat that was asking about solvent extraction? Look what they're saying on their LinkedIn page, Renee. Chemical-based recycling. And there's a couple of other places that I can tell you about where they have used that same terminology too. So, but let's scroll down, and if we go to the bottom of the page, we can see this. Mining and metals, there it is again. It's not recycling, it's mining and metals. That's, okay, odd. Endicott, New York, that's where the headquarters are. Founded in 2018. There's another confirmation, 2018. They've been doing business. Paul Yum says he's had a job here since 2018. The LinkedIn page says 2018. And Google doesn't say the date. LinkedIn page 2018. Make a note of it. Put it on a little sticky note and put it in the back of your brain. So what's the problem with any of this? Okay, so what? So what that they are in the building, okay? So one thing is this. I did a FOIL request back in May 21, and I foiled the Village of Endicott. This went to code enforcement. And I said I want 3 things. So the first thing was I asked for these building permits, building and demolition permits for the demolition that happened in 2018. And I got something back. It's a little fishy. But once I read those things, it made me want to do a couple of other FOILs because there was there was other documents that they referred to. So okay, so there should be a certificate of occupancy. There's something written into the permit or written into the law that says if you don't get a certificate of occupancy between, I don't remember exactly what it means, but what the dates were, but after the work is done, you got to get a certificate of occupancy or the building permit, goes away, something like that. So I asked him, where is the certificate of occupancy for building 259? And the other one was a certificate of compliance. And what I think that is, I think the certificate of compliance is basically stating that the demolition project was completed successfully according to plans. And this one wasn't. We've got all kinds of evidence. There's 2 different lawsuits, one in Rensselaer County, one in Broome County, between this demolition contractor named M. Christo and Sungeel. 2 different lawsuits, okay? This deal went, 2 shyster outfits and a deal gone bad. And I think that was John. I think you found that one, John. You found that lawsuit. Somebody found that lawsuit and pointed me toward it. And that was quite fruitful. And the other thing is, so there was the certificate of occupancy, certificate of compliance, the demolition permits. The demolition permits basically referred to both of those. Oh, and the other thing was, we know that work was abandoned because I got a little interview with Chris Pelto, and he told us it was abandoned. He says the work was not completed. Okay, keep that in your mind. We're going to come back to that. Keep that in the back of your mind. Okay. What I want you to pay attention to here. What are we doing? I'm asking code enforcement. Will you please FOIL request Freedom of Information Act? It's called something different in New York. This is called Public Officers Law. I said, you can request documents, and usually, if it's electronic copies, it's usually free unless they got to do a lot of work to research. your FOIL request. Then they can charge you money. So I basically asked for 2 documents. Let me see. I asked for more, but let's just pay attention to the first 2. The certificate of occupancy for building 259 and the certificate of compliance relating to this demolition permit number what blah 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 blah. Okay? Guess what the response came back? So let's talk first of all about how the responding agency can respond. There's just a few types of responses they can give you. One is that they can grant you the records. They can grant you access to the records that you ask for. They can say, we need more time. Okay. They can deny your access to the records and state an official exemption. So certain types of records that are exempt from disclosure, having to do with maybe pending criminal cases, different things. There's different reasons. You got to go through the list. I don't have it in front of me. But the point is that there's certain exemptions. And then the last thing they can say is the records do not exist. Or they can do something else. I've had a couple recently. I had an EPA one, and I just had another one from the New York State Public Service Commission, where basically the response wasn't any of those. It wasn't any valid response. So then you have to appeal it. But the point is, these are the valid responses. Okay? They can grant you access to the records. They can ask for more time. They can deny your access to the records, or they can say the records don't exist. Got that? Let's see what they said. What do you think they said? Take a guess. Take a guess. Anybody in the chat want to guess? I can't get over here. Oh, let's look at Brett really quick. If it is going to the municipal sewer, then they need an industrial discharge permit. They have a Speedies permit in I think that's what you're talking about. The Clean Water Act, right, Brett? That's what you're talking about, the Clean Water Act permit. In New York, it's called Speedies. In PA, it's something similar to that. They're federal permits, but they're administered by the states. They actually have 2. They might even have more than 2. But they have at least 2, and they have several registered discharge permits, discharge locations on those 2 permits. So they do have those. And what's the other one? Let's see. I think the one on the site is out of service now. Maybe. That's a good point. What did you not request the EPA asbestos notification and I didn't do the DOL one yet, Brett. I need to do that. How did you know about that? How did you find out about that? Somebody told me. Did I tell? Anyway, I'm trying to figure out. Because I don't think I told you that. I told somebody, but basically you're right. What happened was, let me explain what Brett is like jumping way ahead on here, is that I foiled the EPA for a whole bunch of documents relating to that crazy demolition job by M. Christo, and EPA blew me off. That was one of the ones that I had to appeal, and but the EPA guy that called me back said, and he's telling me that the records are in like file cabinets, so I can take a bus and go to New York City and dig through these file cabinets. That's what he was telling. He's like, we're really disorganized. It's like they've got some budget of like billions of dollars. The EPA does. I think it might be $8 billion or something ridiculous. Maybe it's only $3 or $4 billion. But I'm like, you don't have a better document. Your agency is all about documents. You don't have a better document management system than stuffing stuff into file cabinets. I go, no. So, but he did say that Brett must have heard this from somebody that I told, and I'm trying to figure out who that might be. I have one one idea who that might be. But basically, the EPA told me you can get the records easier by foiling the Department of Labor, because that's the New York Department of Labor. That's almost like the OSHA equivalent. Only the state level OSHA is the Department of Labor. I haven't done that yet. I'm glad. Thank you for reminding me of that, Brett, because I didn't get to that yet. I told you about that asbestos inspector management planner. Maybe, did you tell me that? I don't think I've talked to you. Maybe you did. I don't know. Anyway, so let's get back to where I was going with this. So what's the guess? Certificate of occupancy for building 259, Sungeel. Right? What's the guess? I just showed you Paul Yum and their LinkedIn page and Google, and everybody's saying, we're here. That's what the mayor's been saying. The mayor's been saying, they're already here. There was nothing. This is a done deal. There's nothing we can do. They are already here. That's what the mayor said. That's consistent with Paul Yum's LinkedIn page. It's consistent with their main LinkedIn page. It's consistent with everything. 2018. Everybody's saying 2018. That's when Sungeel moved in. Was 2018. There's a close-up of what I asked for. Here's the answer. I bet some of you foil people could have predicted it. Some of you out there knew where this was heading. There's no occupancy permit for Sungeel. There is no occupancy permit for Sungeel. Is this thing on? Oh, hang on. There is no occupancy permit for Sungeel. You hearing me now? We currently welcome you at the front door on the first floor. That's the upper door sign. We welcome you. Here's the lower door. Welcome. They took those signs down, but they were up. I saw the top one, the upper door, myself. I didn't see the lower door. Somebody else sent me that picture. So just riddle me this, Batman. Does that look like they're in the building? This looks like they're in the building. Paul Yum says on his LinkedIn he's been working there since 2018. The main LinkedIn page for Sungeel in Endicott, SMCC, whatever the heck it is, says we've been there since 2018. Google's been listing them for months. They're in the building. There is no certificate of occupancy from Endicott Code. So here's the question. Who enforces that? Does code enforcement enforce that? Nobody listens to me, friends. So maybe you can do something with this information. Because people don't listen to me. In fact, it's harder and harder for me to get my word out because fuckwits keep disconnecting me, unplugging me, banning me, censoring me, deleting me. If you think my work is valuable, friends, I need a couple of things from you. Number one, you got to subscribe to my channel. Subscribe to the channel. Why? I have way too many. There we go. That's a fast way to do it. All right. So the first thing is, please subscribe. I got more content coming. We have a ways to go. So all of you sturdy people that are ready for a several hour live stream, I have more material coming. But it's harder for me to reach you. It's so important for you to subscribe to my YouTube channel until that gets banned. For right now, just subscribe to my YouTube channel. Or if you're on Facebook, join or like this page, like Bill Huston Podcast, or follow me, follow my open Facebook profile, or you can friend me if you want to. If you friend me, you'll automatically follow me. But right now, just subscribe to my YouTube channel, Bill Huston Podcast. Click the bell and select all notifications, and you'll get an email or some kind of a ding on your phone when I go live or when I post a new video. The next thing is, I really need donations badly. So if you can, not everybody is in. A lot of people are hurting right now, and I know you're hurting. And so if you are not in any kind of position to donate, no worries. Just share my videos. That's all you have to do. And say, add a little note and say, I really learned a lot from this guy's stuff. This guy is valuable. He's a benefit to the community. Okay? So if you are capable, if you are one of these people that has enough money, and donations in any amount are appreciated. $5 donations, anything, I am grateful for. The big ones, the $50, $100 donations and up, those are the ones that really make a difference. I need about $10, $100 donations. That's how much I'm behind right now. So I appreciate it, friends. I appreciate donations in any amount. Let's get back to this material. I think I have a couple of more slides here. So basically that's the question. How can it be that Sungeel is operating inside the building? And I just showed you evidence of it, lots of evidence that they are there inside the building right now. And there is no certificate of occupancy. I got that straight from the fire marshal. Now this is a fabulous slide. This is a very, very interesting slide to me, friends, because I didn't realize they're so far out. I thought that they were closer than this. And I'm not giving you this information because I want you to back off or slow down. I don't. We are collectively, Endicott, all of us, No Burn Broom and the Mamas, concerned citizens of Endicott, aware. And there are people that are just doing their own thing. Anybody that is helping with research or making signs or making patches. I wish I had my patch. My patch is in the other room. I could show you. T-shirts, doing social media work. So many people are doing such great work. Keep it up. We are kicking ass. Keep it up. Keep it up. Don't let down. But just to let you know, they are in trouble. So the first thing is we got to be very clear about the state of this thing. I was saying that the permit has been withdrawn. Now, that's not necessarily right. I was carefully reading through this stuff today, prepping for the show. I would not say that the permit has been withdrawn. The DEC says that as long as they can certify that there's no PFAS, there's zero PFAS in this waste stream, they're going to be dumping into the rotary kiln, then DEC is going to let them operate under the existing permit. I can't see how that can be. It seems like there should be permit conditions addressing this particular thing. It seems like they have to issue a modified permit. I don't know why. You're going to see coming up the Basil Sagos letter. Basil Sagos is like saying basically they can operate under certain conditions without a permit modification. I do not agree with that. There's certain things that Basil Sagos, the commissioner of the DEC, said that were, I mean, you would think this guy would be spot on, but there was a couple of what I would call to be, semi-gross errors. Semi-gross, semi-grotesque. So I believe they need to get a permit modification. Either way they go, they can either get permit conditions for burning PFAS, and that's going to be a hotter afterburner. Or they can certify that there is no PFAS, but that issue is not addressed in the existing permit. I think they need to issue permit conditions either way. So I am fully expecting, no matter what, basically that essentially the permit has been withdrawn because the permit must be reissued. The permit must be reissued with new conditions to address this PFAS problem. Either way, there needs to be a new permit. But I think it's got to go farther back than that because this existing permit is defective. It's got to go back as a Type 1 seeker review, and we got to do an environmental impact statement. So you know what? My list here is wrong. It's incomplete. I forgot some stuff. Okay? So really, we're going to add a coordinated review. We're going to add a Type 1 seeker, a coordinated review, a public hearing. We're going to do 4 public hearings, and we're going to do an environmental impact statement. So there's really 4 more items. So it's really 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So the number is 12. That's what they need. DEC isn't admitting to the Type 1 seeker review yet. Thank God to everybody. So many people at that Town of Union meeting the other night, last Wednesday, said Type 1 seeker, God bless you. Special gold stars and tokens, tokens of happiness get sprinkled your way. Thank you for saying Type 1 seeker, because the Type 1 seeker, that is the pathway to the environmental impact statement, which even No Burn Broom, despite their complete cluelessness about the legal process, even they realize that we need to get an environmental impact statement. And if you look at, the middle of, page something in the middle, it mentions it in their letter. It's like flip, flip. Where was it again? Flip, 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 flip. It's not at the beginning. It's not at the end. It's not front and center. Environmental impact statement. And don't bother looking for Type 1 seeker or coordinated review or public hearings, because it's like keywords search not found on those terms. So where's my slide on this? Oh, it was a cut up thing. I'm going to have to really completely redo this. But this is amazing. I'm realizing that even this list, I wanted to show you how long this list was. This is what Sungeel has got to go through. But it's even more than this. Here's what's not on this. And I've already said it. I want to say it again. Type 1 seeker, coordinated review, 4 public hearings, and an environmental impact statement. And even off of the environmental impact statement, we can demand all kinds of things like economic study, health impact assessment, emergency management plan, road study, and a road use agreement. It's a lot of stuff. Sungeel. If I were you, I would back out now. You're never going to get past the mamas or the grandmothers. You're never going to get past them, period. Just stop there. But in terms of all this legal stuff, you think you're going to get past the mamas and this legal stuff? I don't think so. Sungeel, you don't even know it yet. Keep spending money. Keep giving, money to Thomas J. Fusillo. He likes money. He needs money. Each of his suits is $500. He probably drives a Jaguar. You think Jaguars have cheap maintenance and insurance? That takes cash, baby. Keep giving Thomas J. Fusillo cash. I encourage it. Thomas J. Fusillo needs gainful employment. Keep giving him money. You should also keep giving lots of money to Stephen J. Donnelly and Associates. Pay them. Pay and pay and pay and pay and pay. And pay for more. You might have to get some specialists in crisis communications. You might have to give a little. You're paying Stephen J. Donnelly some cash. But you need to pay. You're going to have to come up with some specialist cash too, I think. For crisis communications, because you're in big trouble. Sungeel. So keep paying it out. Pay. How long you want to pay for? 6 months? Okay, we can wait 6 months. Thomas J. Fusillo. Does Thomas J. Fusillo and is Barclay Damon one of the? Is that like a discount law firm? Oh, you gotta have some fun with this. Is Barclay Damon a discount law firm? I could make a crack about Thomas J. Fusillo, but I won't. I'm gonna try to be nice. The point is, I don't think that's a discount law firm. He's making the big bucks. And Stephen J. Donnelly is making the big bucks because this guy is ultra connected. So keep paying, Sungeel. Pay and pay and pay and pay and pay. And at the end, you're going to lose. Because the mamas are fired up. And we have this core group. And it's going to get bigger. Pay attention to Seneca Lake. The demographics of Seneca Lake and the demographics of Seneca Lake and the demographics of Endicott are pretty gosh darn similar. The people are not that different. And New Yorkers don't really take no shizzle. Look at the history of New York. We've got some amazing victories of popular uprisings. Let's just stick to incinerators. We defeated the Kirkwood incinerator back in the 1990s, whenever it was, 80s or 90s. And we just recently, the people of this region defeated the New Milford incinerator. So we have a special, we like kicking incinerator asses. That's our hobby. That's our specialty. But we also like killing pipelines. We like killing natural gas and LPG storage facilities. We like killing compressor stations. We like kicking the asses of the most expensive, the richest corporations in the globe, the richest corporations in the world. That's what we like to kick the ass of. Who are the richest corporations? Oh, oil and gas? You want to come to New York and frack? It was an impossible task. Ask anybody. Nope. Everybody thought it's not possible, but we're gonna turn our efforts up to 11. We're gonna operate at an 11 level of resistance until they go away. We don't know how we're going to win legally, whatever. Nonviolent direct action, we're going to do it. Whatever it takes. We are Seneca Lake. Look it up. 600 people were arrested. You don't think regional people are going to come to Endicott to help us? Wait and see. Give us a try. Go ahead and cheat, DEC. Break the law. You'll find out. You'll find out soon enough. We're going to take this all the way. This is our health and safety here. And my goal is I'm not an anti-incinerator person. I'm not against the incinerator. I think I am. There's a part of me that is, but the outward part of me, if I want to be an honest person, an honest scientist, if an incinerator had zero impacts, I would have no reason to be against it. So, show me a zero impact incinerator through a legal permitting process. They didn't do that. They didn't give us a legal permitting process. They cheated. They gave us the Endicott special. You know what the Endicott special is, right? It's the half-assed it's the, give them a unlisted seeker action, no coordinated review, no public hearings. F you, Endicott. Give them the permit. Turn on the mics for a couple of hours. Let them complain about, their kids with cancer. Pull the mics down. Issue the permit. That's what they do. That's the Endicott special. Endicott special is the microphones. It's like you beg for years for a public hearing. They give you a public hearing, but essentially the microphone isn't turned on because they're not listening. That's the Endicott special. They gave us the Endicott special for the stink trucks, the leachate, on same exact MO. Unlisted seeker action, no coordinated review. Every step was the same. That's why I call it the Endicott special. It's a pattern. You know what? We're tired of the Endicott special, and we're going to demand that in this case that the DEC follow the law. And I don't know why we can't get Donna Lupardo, our representative, the representative of the people, the people's house. That's the assembly, the people's house. Who the hell is Donna Lupardo representing? Because it ain't me. Oh, going to have the letter coming up. You're going to see the letter. Brand new Donna Lupardo letter. Sungeel, here's what you need. You need a brand new air state facility permit. You need a type 1 seeker review. You need to do a coordinated review. You need to have 4 public hearings. You need to give us an environmental impact statement. So I'm already on number 5. So now this is number 6. Building permit, number 6. You got to get a new demolition permit, number 7. Number 8, you need to get a certificate of occupancy. And number 8A is you better get the heck out of the building right now because you're in violation of the law. And we're going to make sure the law is enforced. We're going to make sure the law is enforced. The grandmothers and Aware and the Mamas group, we are law enforcement. Yes, we are. Where's your badge? We are law enforcement. We're the last. When all the administrative remedies fail and the illegal incinerator is still coming, guess what? The Mamas and me and lots of other people too, you're going to see, we're going to block the building with our bodies. You're not getting your incinerator. So the point I'm just trying to make is, Sungeel, you better go home right now, because otherwise you're going to be spending a lot of money on lawyers and crisis communications, public relations specialists. You're just going to blow a whole bunch of money, and you're not building your incinerator here, okay? And if you want to stay in the game, you better play according to the law. Okay? So what are we on? We're on 5, 6, 7, 8 certificate of occupancy, 9 certificate of completion for the demolition work, 10 you got to get an aquifer permit, 11 you got to get a site plan review by the planning board, and guess what that's going to do? 12 a site plan review is going to trigger a GML 239M coordinated review of the county of the facility. We are going to get a coordinated review. We should get 2. 12 things. I'm going to make an updated chart. I'm sorry that this chart is updated. Maybe I can drop in something in post. There's a lot of stuff that Sungeel has to go through. So that's the end of my presentation. Let me check the chat. Alrighty, so it looks like we got 4 people, and that's something. Thank you, everybody. Smash the like button. Come on, there's 1 like button. I want to see at least 1 more like before we get to the next segment. I do have more content coming up. I told you about that. Okay, Brett says, by the way, leave a comment or a thumbs up if you like the presentation so far, if you're learning something. And I especially would like it there's my PayPal link in the chat. I told you about management. I told you about that asbestos inspector management planner. Maybe we need to have a talk about that, Brett, because I don't think I completely understand that. You can also foil the asbestos survey for the property that was submitted for the permit issued by Endicott. If not, they are in violation of code Rule 56. What's Rule 56? What level? Is that a state thing? Federal thing? Code Rule 56. The New Milford incinerator came down to water supply and wastewater. The sewer plant could not take the discharge, and the size of the receiving stream was too small. Huh. I didn't know what killed. I guess I never figured out why the thanks for that update. And I didn't know I guess what's the waste stream from what's the liquid waste stream from an incinerator, Brett? Is it so that's PA Rule 56. I just don't know are you saying do they wash the ash from the incinerator? Do they wash that into what's the waste stream? I don't know what the waste stream of a burning thing is. I know a few people at DEP. I bet you do. Okay. So what is my next thing? Oh, it's the Donna Lupardo letter. I think this is probably the last segment that I'm going to... It depends on if I get a second wind, okay? Because we really have another couple of hours left of the Town of Union thing that we have to watch. So, depending on how I feel after the Donna Lupardo segment, we might go ahead and plow through. NY thing. I thought you were talking about Great Bend. Oh, for Endicott. Got it. Okay. I got it. NYSCRO. New York Code. Well, it's the it looks like an incomplete citation to me, Brett. It should have a number in front of NYCRR. Should have like a number in front of that. But anyway, I could probably figure out what it is based on what you gave me there. Okay. It's Donna Lupardo time. It's Donna Lupardo time. We got 4 people watching and I only have 1 like. Come on, that is pretty pathetic. Somebody can press the like button. Come on. Do it. Press the like button. And subscribe. If you subscribe, you'll get... And click the bell and ask for all notifications. That's the important part. Okay. Let's do the last part. So I just got to get set up for it here. Give me 1 second. Isn't that amazing that Sungeel doesn't have a certificate of occupancy? You don't think that's amazing? Okay, so what do I have to do? I guess I can just put that there like that. And then I can come over here. All right, that looks nice. Let me just trim it up a little bit. Trim, trim, trim. Trim your nose hairs. Trim your nose hairs. Oh, wrong window. Alrighty. This is Donna Lupardo, gaslighting letter. It's like it's a regular monthly thing with her. Every month she sends out like her top 5 gaslighting letters. Okay, I want to move that up. Okay. I think, there we go. So, I got, last week, several people sent me a copy of this. This went out to several constituents of Donna Lupardo, not to me. I guess I'm on her dookie list. I wonder why that would be. Just because I said I was going to turn her into the FBI for public corruption? I don't know. I don't know what else to do. That's the only thing I know to do. That seems like the right thing to do. So, here we go. Donna Lupardo. So she sends out this letter with an attachment. We're going to read both. The attachment is a 5-page PDF from Basil Segos. So what's important about this letter is this is the first time that I'm aware of that Basil Segos has actually gone on the record about this thing. So that is noteworthy, I think. Now then, so dear, so it was August 7th. When was August 7th? Was that Friday? I think it was Friday. August 7th was Friday. August 7th, Donna Lupardo to some constituent. Dear so-and-so, over the past few months, many have written about the proposed battery recycling facility in Endicott. So, I need the horn sound effect. Meh, meh, whenever she's continuing, digging in, gaslighting, I need to play a horn. Wah, wah. Like a foghorn or something. Womp, womp. Wah, wah. Wah, wah. Oh. Come on. Sorry. Stand by 1 second. I need to clean up my OBS stack. My OBS stack is way too cluttered. Over the last few months, many have written, I guess to her, about the proposed battery recycling facilities. So, wah, wah. Every time she says recycling facility, she gets like a foghorn of sound effect, like. You mean the incinerator, right? The high temperature rotary kiln, the calcation unit, the pyrolysis unit, the thing that does the burning and the roasting. I wanted to provide you an update. As you know, this project was originally approved by the DEC. Meh, meh. The DEC process was illegal. Well, why was that, Bill? Well, because they gave us an unlisted seeker action. In this case, a Type 1 seeker is required by law. Really? What law would that be, Bill? Well, it's actually 6 NYCRR 617.4 B2. Now, technically, the word law has many different meanings, okay? There's legislation, the statutes, and then there's the code. The code is actually the detailed implementation of the law. It's got the power of law because it has to go through this whole... In New York, it's called SAPA, this Administrative Procedures Policy Act. State Administrative Procedures Act, something like that. So it's got to be passed by the legislature. It has the power of law, the code. So it's code 6 NYCRR 617.4 B2. Well, what does that mean, Bill? I've heard you say that before. 6 NYCRR 617.4 B2. You know, what does it mean? I've heard you say that lots of times, Bill. What is 6 NYCRR 617.4 B2? Think you know it? I think you're so smart. Well, I'll tell you what it is. It says that if your project that you're going through the seeker process on, if your project requires a zoning change that impacts more than 25 acres, it's an automatic Type 1 seeker action. Okay? Prior to May 7th, 2020, incinerators were expressly prohibited by the Endicott Village Code. I feel like I've been through this 100 times. I'm going to keep on going through it until people get it. Prior to May 7th, 2020, there was an unambiguous, very clear, express prohibition. Express is in quotes. It's literally quoted because the word express is in the law. It's an expressly prohibited land use. Anything not listed, incinerators, smelters, urban mining, refining, nothing like that. It's expressly prohibited. So in order to put this incinerator in Endicott, and that's exactly what it is. It's waste disposal. It's not recycling. None of the. I liked what John Ruspentini said the other night on the Zoom call. He said on the Town of Union Zoom call, he said it's not recycling because none of it is recycling ready. It's got to be further processed before it can go as an input to a battery company. This is an intermediate refining, metals refining process, but this step is to burn off impurities. The plastics, the plastic pouches and the liners and different things. Just like dump it in. It's like, what about this? What about this, Danish? Ah, just throw it in. Probably throwing in bodies. I'll probably end up in the high temperature rotary kiln. It's a great way to get rid of troublemakers. So, back to Donna. As you know, this project was originally approved by the DEC illegally, improperly. Because of the zoning change greater than 25 acres, a Type 1 seeker is required. Guess what also is required for a Type 1 seeker? A coordinated review. They didn't do one here. They told us they did. And then when village attorney Bob McCurdick, back in February, letter to DEC, he said, hey, what about it? DEC's attorney came back and said it was a typo. I'm not kidding. I've showed you it on my streams before. I can show it to you again. I wouldn't kid you about something like this. We were denied our due process rights. And by the way, they also failed to recognize, we're going to get into the Basil Sagos letter right after this. They failed to recognize, guess how many unmitigated potential impacts it takes to trigger a positive declaration. Bingy, pop, pop. 1. Guess how many unmitigated potential impacts that were identified by concerned citizens of Endicott and No Burn Broom and other people in aggregate? About a dozen. What's the threshold? Beep. This is the threshold. This is what we gave them. This is what they heard us on. We got the Endicott special. The mics weren't turned on. They weren't listening to us. They didn't hear anything. So by issuing us a fraudulent negative declaration, they issued a false certificate. The DEC, Joseph DeLugolensky, Reggie Parker. I like Tom Elter. Based on what I see, you're part of it, Tom. Tom Elter. Marco. What's his name? Matt Marco. Matthew Marco. I think that's his name. There's a couple of other people. A couple of attorneys. Joe Sluzar. A couple of other people. Whole bunch of them at DEC issued a false certificate all the way up to Basil Sagos. Basil Sagos is finally on the record. We're going to read it in just 1 second if I can quit yakking and get through this. So Donna says, okay, I've been regular in contact with them throughout the process. Attached, you will find the response to a letter I wrote to the commissioner asking for a number of questions to be answered shortly after my last letter was written, where I also raised the PFAS issue. PFAS, we love the PFAS. PFAS, we are the PFAS people. PFAS. They're going to solve PFAS via permit conditions, if we're lucky. If we're not lucky, they're going to issue. They're going to just ride with the existing permit. All Sungeel has to do is say, "Yeah, we Scouts Honor. We promise. We promised never to insinuate any PFAS on our Scouts Honor." Like these guys are trustworthy. They don't even pay their contractors. They screwed over M. Christo. Okay, so Donna raised the PFAS issue. I do not give a boop boop over PFAS because they're going to fix it with permit conditions. All you people talking about PFAS right now, listen to me good. You're arguing for a cleaner burning incinerator. If you are not, everybody, listen to me now. There's one thing that all of us should be asking for, and that is for a Type 1 seeker and a coordinated review, which is required. Type 1 seeker, which is required by law due to the zoning change impacting 560 acres or whatever it is. Coordinated review, which comes next. A positive declaration acknowledging all of the many unmitigated potential impacts identified by No Burn Broom and also concerned citizens of Endicott. We want 4 public hearings, and we want an environmental impact statement. We didn't get any of that stuff. Unless we're on the road to the EIS, okay, starting with the type 1 seeker and running through all that stuff. That is the goal of SECRA, the State Environmental Quality Review Act. The goal of SECRA, or seeker, is to get you to an environmental impact statement. So I'm trying to tell you, here's the path to an environmental impact statement. Town of Union resolution sucked. It sucked. Everybody's acting like they're mad at me on that call as I'm watching the end of the call. We might go through that tonight. We might get through that. I have a lot of material here, so I don't know how many people are going to hang with me. I have to get a drink of water. Stand by 1 second. Everybody, No Burn Broom, listen up. Mamas, listen up. Aware, listen up. All you citizens out there that want to fight this incinerator that don't belong to any group, listen up. We need a legal seeker process. We need a legal environmental review. We did not get a legal environmental review. The DEC violated seeker, and they issued a false certificate, which might be criminal if these people had knowledge of what they were doing. And it's really hard to say that they didn't have knowledge. It's really a hard argument to try to justify this, because it looks like crimes to me. It looks like crimes. It looks like criminal behavior. It looks like gangsters. Gangsta. We're not putting up with the Endicott special anymore. We're not. We're just not. So, but I think the way to have the greatest impact right now, friends, this is what I'm begging everybody that's involved in fighting this incinerator in different ways. If we all ask for the same thing, and I think it might be a good idea. Let me try this again. Okay. It might be a good idea to target specific people, maybe just certain days of the week. But my recommendation is that if you only have one phone call to make it to Donna Lupardo. She was, from the beginning, big promoter of this thing. And just look at how weak this letter is. I also read the PFAS issue. The permit for the plant was suspended. The permit for the plant was suspended, waiting for the company's response. So Donna is saying the permit is suspended. So that's interesting. Basil Sagos is acting like the permit is not suspended, as long as Sungeel can demonstrate that there's not going to be PFAS in their waste stream, which I don't see how they can do. And that still needs to be done via permit conditions. Basil Sagos should know that. So they need to issue a new permit. The permit is suspended. In my humble opinion, it has to be suspended because they have to issue a new one to deal with the minimum of this PFAS issue. But that's not even talking about the fact that this whole process was defective because they initially misclassified it. So that whole, I've showed you the snake, the whole, the blue one and the red one, or the red one and the green one. One is the Endicott special, and the other one is the Type 1 Seeker Review. That's the pathway to an EIS. I know it's a lot of lingo. It's hard to say. It's hard for me to say. I have to think about it every time. What do we have to start with? Type 1 seeker. What's the next step? Coordinated review. What's the next step? 4 public hearings within the context of an environmental impact statement. Preparation. There's a whole lot of steps related to the EIS. That's where we're trying to get to. Everyone in Endicott should be saying the same thing. And if you say it to Donna Lupardo, I believe that it's going to have the most impact. Tell her you're not going to vote for her. You know, write in Mickey Mouse. Write in Bill Huston. I'll do the job. Donna Lupardo does not deserve your vote the way she's acting right now. Don't vote for Donna. Dump Donna. Running unopposed. She's running unopposed because it's a deal that the Republicans and the Democrats, they give them all safe districts. It's all trading. It's a game. So Donna Lupardo gets to run unopposed. Nobody challenges her within her own party. Everybody Sierra Club treats her like a princess, and she's a gangster. Donna Lupardo has done more to harm this area than anybody because she gaslights, she lies. She's working for industry, and she's lying to her constituents. You think this is the only issue she's doing this on? There's dozens. Donna has got to come to Jesus PDQ on this issue, and that means write the letter to Basil Sagos. I sent you the letter, Donna. Put it on your letterhead. You found out some new information. This development has given us time to review the PFAS and other issues that have arisen. Please know that I am actively working. What other issues? I'd like to know what other issues. You mean like the Type 1 seeker, the EIS? She doesn't acknowledge anything that I've said to her. She's only talking about PFAS because she's playing footsie with Paul Connett, and Paul Connett is negotiating for a cleaner burning incinerator because he is not. Where's Paul Connett? Show me Paul Connett talking about a Type 1 seeker, which is the pathway to an environmental impact statement. Can anybody cite a place where Paul Connett has ever said that in a letter to the DEC or a letter to Governor Cuomo or to the media anywhere? Or is it on, let's do that right now just for the fun of it. Let's go to Google and let's say no site, no burn broom.com, and I'm going to look for SEQR or SEQRA. I would be very shocked and surprised. So look at this. They've got my letter. Negative declaration. No identified creation of hazard to human health. Yeah. 3 known carcinogens. So I talk about the seeker here. I didn't give the full picture here, but this did match. There's a keyword match. Let's see what this one. The mayor provided to schedule the vote with. That's a seeker review for the zoning change. That's not the DEC seeker review. Let's see. Find. Before the vote was taken, village board had to answer a series of questions about seeker. Trustee Connectney was going to vote in unison in such a way that the seeker process, that's more 3-2 vote on the seeker. This is all about the zoning change. Okay, so now there's one more place I have to look. And I have to, because all the documents are on a... why can't I spell fluoride? Fluoridealert.org. That's the domain. And I want to do SEQR or SEQRA. All right, let's see, because they have the documents on a different page. All right. Just taking some time out here, friends. Give me 1 second. I'm going to have to look at these because some of these Potsdam. Oh, that's 2002. 2001. 2002. That's not. I'm looking for relevant links. Endicott negative deck. Endicott negative deck. Response to that. Fluoride. It's not it. Fluoride. Okay, final. Lake Champlain. All right. Let's just look at this. Huh. So this is one where that matches. And this is the notice of completed application from October of 2019. I cite this document all the time. Let's see what all right. Okay, there it is. Failure to comply with SECRA. This is Claudia Bramer's letter. Let's see, but what is this letter? This is May 13th. So this was a letter. Oh, this was, I think this is the, is this the zoning board appeal? I might not have seen this letter before. This is interesting. I'm going to have to save this and read it. Claudia does generally really good work. I really like the papers that she writes. Failure to comply with SECRA. All right, so let's read what she says. In February, the village attorney presented a long list of questions. The Aquifer Protection Law. This is one that I didn't know about. I learned about the Aquifer Protection Law from Claudia Bramer. I was very pleased to find that. She does good research. Majority of the board elected no impacts. In a confused and preordained process. Great. The majority of the board segmented the review of the battery recycling incinerator facility from the review of the proposed zoning maintenance. Right! Excellent point. Excellent point, Claudia. See, Claudia's really got a great mind. I think she does good stuff. This is a great point. She's saying that they should have done a review. The county should have done a review of the facility, but that was segment. She's calling that a segmentation. I like that. The two proposals are reasonably related actions and should have both been considered. Excellent. See, this is why you go to law school, because you learn all this stuff. I almost know that language myself. The board's review failed to comply with SECRA, and the local law must be rescinded. This does look like the I don't know what this is. I think the zoning appeal that she made was a different document. I don't think I have this. I'm going to save this. This is May 13th, 2020. All right. Oh, it says I already have it. Okay. I always use the same naming scheme. Okay, so she doesn't talk about type 1 seeker here. She's talking about the zoning change. The seeker that had to do with the zoning change. Let's see what this is. Response to comments. Oh, look at this. This is in the DEC's response to comments. Commenters stated that the DEC should conduct a full Type 1 seeker environmental review, including an environmental impact statement. In its amended negative declaration, the department provided a written explanation for the seeker conclusions. An environmental impact statement would only be warranted where an agency could identify at least one potentially significant impact that's unmitigated. Yeah, we've given you a dozen. Here, none were identified. BS. The department completed a full EAF that would complete for a Type 1 action. Well, I don't care about that. I care about the coordinated review and etc. down the line. Though the review was not coordinated with the village. It's more than just the village that you have to coordinate with, friends. Additionally, the project qualifies for an air registration. That is a lie that is... And Basil Segos repeats it. You're going to see it coming up. I've heard this so many times. Additionally, the project qualifies for an air registration, which the department had chosen that path would have required no seeker review at all. You're lucky for what you got. Nonetheless, the applicant has complied with the permit application submission requirements. DEC hasn't. And the conditions of the air permit and solid waste registration meets department's regulations that are protective of human health. You didn't follow the law, you diploids. So at least the DEC recognizes they didn't hear my full comment about why a Type 1 is required. They didn't mention the zoning change anywhere in this document. And we got one more thing here. This is, this is the brilliant. Let's see what Bob McCurdick says. Let's do SEQR. I'm just looking for if they mention Type 1 seeker anywhere on No Burn Broom. And it's basically the yes, in my comment, it's my comment to the DEC. Let's say that. This is the one instance was my comment. It's not in any of their writings. Rescind for the reason DEC seeker review, seeker documentation, outcome of the seeker. Seeker review, seeker determination, seeker review, seeker. Unlisted. UNLISTED. Unlisted, not found. Okay. So, type TY P. Not there. Okay, so what did I just determine here? That whole 10-minute detour, friends, was just to tell you, No Burn Broom. They're saying, okay, I can show video of Paul Connett saying, Sungeel, go home. That's what his words say, but what do his actions say? Paul Connett. His actions are, he's playing footsie with the perp, Donna Lupardo. He chewed my ass for basically telling her that I'm going to report her to law enforcement if she doesn't get on the program, which is perfectly legal. He called it a threat. It wasn't a threat. I just said I'm going to use every remedy that I have to my availability to make sure the law is enforced here, because Donna, the legislator, isn't. And she brought this thing here, and she lied to us. Or she told us false information that wasn't a lie. She told us false information because she didn't know. And there's no excuse for that. If she didn't know. She was either one of those. Lying is bad. Not knowing and talking out your boop boop. That's bad too. They're both bad. There's no good situation there. So, time to review the PFAS and other issues that have arisen. Okay, what are those issues? Please know that I'm actively working to get the answers about the... Oh, this was... Remember I said there was a 0.0 to 0.001 millimeters of movement? Look, she's talking about a heating process now. So she's finally... She didn't say incinerator. She didn't say smelting. She didn't say high-temperature rotary kiln with afterburner. She didn't say pyrolysis unit. She didn't say calcation unit. I don't think I'm saying that word right. I got to look it up. Nothing about roasting or burning. It's just a heater. It's so nice. Let's sit by the heater. Stay warm by the heater. And listen to this. As a state legislator, I do not have a vote regarding this project. Don't piss me off, Donna. We showed the letter, right? We're going to show it coming up. We're going to show it coming up. Oh, did I not show you this letter? Huh. Trying to find where it is now. Okay, but I do have a voice. Where is the we all got to get on the same page? That's what I'm looking for. Stand by 1 second, friends. I don't think that's weird, because I feel like I didn't get through these slides. I definitely didn't. I skipped some slides. Okay, so hold on. Sorry about this. We can fix it in post. Fix it in post. That's what a video editor's famous last words. So I don't know if you're going to be able to see this, but this was Linda Jackson on... This was just showing you how she changed, because basically back in January, she was on WNBF and she's saying unanswered questions about the facility, including exactly what will be released into the air. Very important things, including what will be released in the air, have not been adequately addressed. Engineers could not answer simple questions by Cheryl Chapman. People are tired. Listen to this. Jackson said, we want to know what we are getting into. People are tired of our village being a dumping ground, and they don't want to be a dumping ground anymore. What? Is this the same Linda Jackson? This was Linda Jackson from January 17th of this year. And that sounds like some powerful statements of concern, at least. Maybe not against the incinerator, but she's very strongly concerned. And that's when we had those two big meetings, right? Oh, so people are tired. There's still unanswered questions. Project engineers couldn't answer questions. We want to know what we're getting into. People are tired of our village being a dumping ground, and they don't want to be a dumping ground anymore. That's great. That's fabulous. And I had some talks with her and with Cheryl Chapman around the same time, and this is the same vibe that I was getting from them. So then this happened. Saturday. This was written on a Saturday. Donna Lupardo wrote it to 5 o'clock on a Saturday. It's 5 o'clock on a Saturday. What's that song name? Donna. You could go Donna Lupardo. Okay. I think it would be helpful if we got on the same page. So Linda Jackson and Cheryl Chapman were both on the news all through January and saying this kind of stuff, saying we have concerns. They haven't approached us. They've been out of touch. They haven't done this. Nothing but concerns. 2 meetings happened. I started out at the top of the show showing you the roster of those 2 meetings. And then they went, remember I showed that one video of the car doing the J turn, the high speed. You pull on the brake and you spin the wheel. We used to call it a Rockford. If you grew up in the 60s or 70s like I did, you know what a Rockford was. Donna Lupardo says, we all got to get on the same page. And they flipped. 2 meetings happened, all these big shots, no members of the public. We got to get on the same page. It's almost like Tanya Harding waving her baseball bat at you. We got to get on the same page. And they did. They got on the same page. They heard the message, whatever the message was. Oh, somebody just told me Linda Jackson's bragging that she's got a fully paid, this is how she described it, a fully paid condo in Florida. Whoa. Buy it yourself? Was it a gift? Where'd you get it? Fully paid? Why would you say fully paid? Hey, where do you live, Bill? Well, I live in a fully paid house. Is that like a normal way for people to talk? I live in I'm going to a fully paid house. I suppose if you just paid off your mortgage or something, you'd be excited. Just seems like an odd thing. So I wanted to make sure that I showed you this. And then that brings us back to this summary, okay, and then showing that they were all in the building. All right, so sorry about that little detour. Let's get back to where we were. Donna Lupardo. I do not have a vote regarding this project, but I do have a voice. I don't have a vote. Are you sure? Donna? Are you sure you don't have a vote? Donna, seriously? Oh, I don't know why that window doesn't center. There we go. All right, let me... Got my windows boogered up again. Got to get on the same page. Baby. Better get on the same page. Are you sure you don't have a voice, Donna? Or you don't have a vote? Looks like you have a vote. Looks like you have a sledgehammer. Looks like you used a sledgehammer. This is way beyond a vote, Donna. So, your continued gaslighting. And that's what I call it. That's what it seems like it's to me. Deliberate misrepresentation to your constituents. How is that not a crime, Donna? I do not have a vote regarding this project. You're the state assemblywoman. Excuse me? All you have to do is write a letter to Basil Segos. I gave you the letter outlining the seeker irregularities, the violations of the law by the DEC. Remember when I asked you up at Round Top, Donna Lupardo? Should the DEC follow the law? What did you say? Humana, 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 humana. I don't want to go there with you right now, with this right now, at this minute, at this moment right now in space and time. I'm not going there with you right this minute, at this moment. Isn't that a simple question? Shouldn't the DEC follow the law? When would you say the DEC should not follow the law, Donna? When the Empire State Development has one of their pet projects and they're trying to do targeted, what's the phrase? I never remember the exact phrase. Targeted relief from burdensome legal and regulatory requirements? You working with Empire State Development? Or are you working for the people? Who are you working for? You working for industry? Or are you working for us? Donna Lupardo. You better find Jesus pretty quick, Donna. You better get with the program. You're going to go to jail. Because I can't see, how is this not corruption? How is this not political corruption? Let's read the Basil Segos letter now, if I can find it. And this is kind of breathtaking. This is kind of breathtaking. Put this over here. Before we do that, I have to frame up my windows, as I always do. Maybe I should leave it wide. And that way I can zoom. But before I go zoom. And that annoys me. Should I move me up or the thing down? Let's do the thing down. Just got to do one click. There we go. All right. So before we do the Basil Segos letter, I'm just going to check the chat really quick. We're just at midnight. I'm going to be pretty much done for the night. I'm going to at least stop the stream when I'm done this, but I might come back a little bit later tonight and we might finish off the town of Union. The review of the town of Union. So we still got 2 people on. That's good. Okay, let's look at the comments. Brett says the state level. Okay, I know. Okay, we are talking about that. No, the scrubbers. Some of the long chain things that are made in the stack. There are issues with the total toxic content. EPA 624 and 625. Okay, and 12. Thank you. 12 NYCRR Part 56. 12 is DOL. Very, very helpful, Brett. Thank you. Thank you. I don't know if you're still on. 2 likes. Yes. Yes. If you haven't given me a like, why don't you please press the thumbs up button. Press the thumbs up button. Okay. All right. I have just a little bit more to go. A little bit more. This is Basil Sagos. July 1. So this is over a month ago. He's responding to Donna's letter. I think I've read Donna's letter before. I didn't read it tonight, but you can kind of see the questions that she asks embedded. And there's not much else besides her questions. So it's just, I'm not going to read her letter. We can kind of figure out what this is. So basically, Basil Sagos. I need to take a 2-minute break, okay? I just need to take a quick break. And then we're going to come back and we're going to read the Basil Sagos letter together. Okay? Basil Sagos. Coming up. All right. I'll see you in just a couple of minutes, friends. I need to take a break, stretch my legs. I've been sitting here for a couple hours. We'll see you soon.